Let's talk about another manager, shall we? I want to touch on Antonio Conte as we go back to the Champions League and take a look at Group D, which is where Spurs have landed against Eintracht Frankfurt, Sporting and Marseille. And Gab, I want to talk to you about this because we've seen Conte struggle in cups, but surely Spurs are getting out of this group, aren't they?
Well, I was speaking to Jules earlier, and Jules said, "Oh, Group D, that's a Europa League group." Gee, thank you very much. So when you look at it that way, yeah, he's got it. He's not going to have much of an excuse if he doesn't get out of the group stage. If you look at Eintracht, losing Kostic, some upheaval this summer, those other teams in the group, I think, markedly inferior to Spurs. So that's why he gets paid the big bucks. That's why Daniel Levy chucked a lot of money at the squad in the summer. He has to advance. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Ale, you have a weird and twisted relationship with the Spurs fans.
What?
I wonder where you were going there.
I'm sorry, what?
What do you think about their chances of getting out of this group?
100% Spurs are going through. Yes, and over the years, it has been interesting. Yes, I wouldn't call it twisted, but...
Weird? Is that fair?
Weird, but look, the times that I pick Spurs is because I fully believe that they're going to win games and that they are better than the opposition. And I think that's the case in this group. If indeed Spurs are serious about who they are in the Premier League, they should win this group. And I think it would go a long way for them if not only if they win the group, but they dominate the group. That's what I think should be the goal. Yes, you want to advance, but can you do it really completely dominating these games and being better? Substantially better than everybody else that you're playing against. I think they have that sort of potential. Whether they do it or not, I'm not so sure. But 100% they're getting out of the group and they're going to win the group. Let's
get to the balance then, and I'll go with players and managers in this one. But Frank, I'll go with you as a player. How do you balance this as a Spurs player if you are near the top spots in the Premier League and then you have the Champions League and you do want to make a deep run in it? How do you balance that out?
Well, you just do your job. It's part of your job to be involved in every competition and to give 100% to all of it. When you are a Premier League player from a big club, you balance that very well. You go, you play every game like it's the game of your life. You enjoy it because you're on the top of the Premier League and you have the chance to be involved in the Champions League. So you don't even question yourself about how you have to choose the game you will have to play. No, you go for it, or you go for them. You don't even ask yourself, what's going to happen, and you're going to enjoy. Tottenham has to win every to play in that group stage because they are more than superior than any other teams involving that group. So but they will have to do it. When they will play in Marseille, it's my former club. They're going to face 65,000 crazy fans. And for the first 15 minutes, they will have to be ready, even if it's Tottenham. But overall, they're much better than Marseille. They will just have to show it, but they should go on top of it. And I wouldn't say easily, but naturally.
Stevie, manager's perspective, are they deep enough? And how do you put the emphasis on one tournament and the other when you are near the top spots, let's say, in the Premier League?
Well, Conte wants to do something in the Champions League. He doesn't have a good history in the Champions League, and he'll look at this group and say, right, we're the best team in this, as his players will. So the only job that Conte has to do now is to make sure there's no complacency at any time. And if he does that, then Spurs are way better than these sides, and they'll go through, as long as there's no complacency. That is their biggest enemy right now, not the three sides. Complacency, just creeping in maybe.
Sporting are in this group, and it's just a chance to touch on the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo has been linked to Sporting. Now, Gab, again, this is the latest rumour on his future. Anything you can add to what the latest situation is here?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I actually bumped into the sporting director of Sporting Lisbon here in Istanbul, and the fact that he's here and not negotiating Cristiano's contract suggests to me that it's not imminent. Might be a couple of days. I think this is always the plan B. He's been shopped all around Europe. He's trying to find another solution. Sporting, he's already denied it earlier in the summer. But the reality is there may come a time when this is the best place for him. And it would be easier for him to go back to Sporting as opposed to the other Portuguese clubs because that's where his history is. So, you don't want to shut that door permanently. But I still think for somebody like Cristiano to move, there's a lot that needs to happen. And a lot of people will need to take a step back. Manchester United cannot demand a fee, for example, and Cristiano would need to take a hefty pay cut.